I built my dream desk setup for productivity and aesthetics. So if you've been following my recent videos, you've probably seen that I've changed up my desk setup, and I think it's finally time to give you a studio tour. So this video is going to be separated into two parts. First is going to be my desk setup, more for work and productivity, and the second is going to be for filming, things like my cameras and lights. If there's any gear that you want a more in-depth video on, definitely let me know in the comments below. There will also be different timestamps throughout the video so that you can jump to specific sections if you want. Let's get started. Okay, so first, let's start off with the desk setup. Now, I wanted to place a heavy emphasis on the desk setup because I was never really happy with how my desk setup was before. If you took a look at some of my old videos, the desk setup just wasn't that great, which is why I never really shot at the desk. But I did want to start doing more tutorials or being able to place products on the desk, so the desk was definitely a heavy emphasis. I also wanted to set up my desk setup to be more productivity focused for my specific needs. So this is the L-shaped standing desk by Desky. Full disclosure, Desky did send me this desk for this video, but no money exchange hands and all thoughts on this desk are my own. So I'll quickly run through some of the features that made this kind of like the perfect desk that I was looking for when building on my room. So like I mentioned, I got the L-shaped standing desk, and I got this because I wanted something a little bit more cohesive with my work and for filming. So before in the past, my work desk would be completely different from the desk where I filmed at. There would be two separate tables. So now I have one side of my desk for work, the other side for filming and for top-down shots. I also specifically wanted a standing desk because I am a huge gym/fitness rat, and keeping my physical activity in check has always been super important to me, especially where I'm doing this job where I spend a lot of time editing in front of the computer and just sitting, so I definitely wanted a standing desk. The desk that I got is their bamboo color, and it has a size of 72 by 30 inches on the long end and 70 by 24 inches on the short end. So it definitely is a pretty big desk. Now, one thing that I always struggled with, and you can definitely see this in the past, is my cable management. But for this Desky desk, it actually had a lot of stuff built in which made it super easy. So this desk has integrated cable and data channel with power plugs. So underneath the desk, there's actually a whole channel which actually connects to the frame of the desk, so you're not screwing anything onto the desk itself or clamping anything. It's built directly into the frame. And the really cool thing is that you can actually flip this whole channel down to be able to access all of your wires. And then once you put all of your wires in it, you can flip the whole channel back up and kind of just store everything together. In this cable channel, you can also get power plug units. I have 3 of these power plug units, and each one has 3 AC ports as well as a USB-A and USB-C port. So that's a lot of space for me to plug in things like my monitor and my computer. That's really important because I can actually plug the standing desk motors into those power plugs. Normally for a standing desk, you would have one cable that goes into the wall, then you would have maybe like a power bar connected with all of your different devices to the wall. And then because it is a standing desk, you have to kind of fiddle around with the cable management and make sure that all of your wires are long enough for it. But in this case, because everything is built into the desk, you just need to make sure that your one wire that is powering everything can reach the wall, whether you're doing a sit or stand height, and then everything else will be connected to the desk and you don't have to worry about the length. To control the desk, you have a Bluetooth controller. So this Bluetooth controller gives you 4 memory presets. You have a timer button which will give you a notification to remember to stand. And like I mentioned, I do think that standing desk is super important for us filmmakers who are always at their desk just sitting and editing. And of course, you also have the end button for the menu. For the menu button, you can set the maximum and minimum height of the desk. You can lock it if you have kids running around. You can enable Bluetooth to connect to their app. You can change the RGB color lights, turn on or off the display, change the impact detection in case it hits something, change the unit of measurement, and show the height displayed. On the side of the Bluetooth controller, you also have an 18 watt USB-C output, so if you want to just quickly plug it in to charge your phone or something, you can do that there. So like I mentioned, they also have an app that you can connect to. So in the app, it actually gives you 6 different preset heights. So on the Bluetooth controller, you only get access to 4, but with the app, you get 6. You can set a goal for standing minutes and give you a summary if you're into that. You can also change all of your other settings like the LED screen brightness, RGB color. One really cool thing is that you can also tell Siri to control your desk. So you can do things like this. Hey Siri, Desky 2. So yeah, you can tell Siri to control your desk, which is really cool. The whole desk was really easy to set up and it's pretty sturdy. You can go from a height of 60 to 125 centimeters and has a weight capacity of about 441 pounds. Now onto the desk setup. This is the core of this whole setup and what kind of inspired my studio revamp because I wanted to change it to be more productive. And the first thing that you probably notice is that I'm running a dual stack screen. Now the bottom monitor is a ViewSonic VX3276 QHD. So it's a 32-inch 2K monitor, and this is my main monitor because of the size. This is really great for everyday use, having my timeline really wide across the screen when video editing, and just having a lot of real estate for what I'm doing. Now this isn't color accurate at all, so what I used to do was have my MacBook off to the side and using that as my color accurate screen. But the problem is, even with a 16-inch MacBook, the screen was just way too small for what I needed. So that's where this one comes in. So this monitor I recently got, which is the Asus ProArt PA278CV. And that's actually the monitor that I use as my reference monitor when I need to do color accurate work. This monitor is 27 inches with a 2K resolution. It covers 100% sRGB in Rec 709. And I made sure to set the monitor to Rec 709 mode and also change the gamma from gamma 2.4 to 2.2 since I'm mostly doing web work. But it is great to know that if I'm doing more work for broadcast, I have the ability to switch it to gamma 2.4. When I'm not doing color accurate stuff, this monitor usually just has YouTube or a TV show playing, and I've actually been really enjoying this stacked computer setup. Usually I would have two monitors just side by side, and it'll be kind of annoying because I would never have a monitor set in a main position, so my head will always be tilted off to one side, where in this setup, I can always just look in front. If I need to look at another monitor for reference, I can just look up, and that saves me from having to turn my head side to side. Now as you can see right here, I'm still running my MacBook. This is still the 16-inch M1 Pro MacBook, and right now it's still good enough for what I need, but I do think that I will be upgrading next year. One problem that I had before was that whenever I needed to take my laptop to go, I would have to unplug every single cable from it, which would include like a power cable, the hub, maybe an SD card reader, and it would just be kind of a hassle. And especially when coming back when I need to put my laptop back on my desk, I would have to plug everything back in. But now I have this dock. So this is the Astrono docking station, and the cool thing is, all the accessories I plugged into the docking station itself, and there's actually these connectors on the other side of the dock that plug straight into the MacBook. Because everything is plugged into the dock, when I need to take it to go, I just have to pull it out and it unplugs everything. When I'm done with everything, all I have to do is slide the MacBook back in, wake up the MacBook, and then it'll instantly connect all these screens so that I don't have to actually reconnect anything. Everything just plugs directly into the dock. It powers on everything, all my accessories are plugged back in, very easy. I was a little bit worried that I might accidentally knock over the dock, but it's actually super heavy and feels really durable. For monitor arms, I'm running the Vivo monitor arms, and I got the extra tall version because I need space to be able to stack my monitors on top of each other. I like these because they give me a lot of flexibility on where I want to place the monitors, and they also have built-in cable management into the arms, which is really nice again for someone like myself who's usually not doing a lot of cable management. Having it built right in makes it super easy. For speakers, I'm running the Edifier R1280TS. And they seem to be pretty value speakers. I'm very far from an audiophile, so I'm probably not the best person to tell how good these speakers are, but from my use, they sound really good to me, and from what I've seen from reviews online, it seems like a lot of people think that they're super value as well. They look great, and I think it matches this kind of brighter wood aesthetic pretty nicely. They're also sitting on these stands that are clamped to the table so that they're raised up and slightly tilted down towards my ears. Because the studio monitors are a little bit farther away, I actually control the volume with this remote, which is super handy. As you can see right here, I have this Desky monitor stand. Obviously, because my monitors are mounted with arms, I don't actually need the monitor stand, but I want to be able to put other things on it. I had these cute little plants from IKEA that I really like. I also have my charging station here. So this is the Alumu M1 charging station. So I'm able to charge my phone, my AirPods, and my watch all on one station. This is also the main charging station that I use for travel just because it can fold up really thin and I can just take it and go. Underneath the monitor stand, I put my wallet, earbuds, the remotes for volume, and this little guy. So I'm using the ProGrade Hub. I actually think it's a pretty cool device and I probably will be doing a full video on it. Basically, it's just a hub that gives me 4 Thunderbolt ports. One port charges my MacBook and connects the whole hub. I have one port that connects to my monitor via USB-C. One connects to the CF Express Type A memory card reader, which is what I use for all of my cameras. And then the last one connects to my SSD. And then in the front, there's also an additional USB-A port as well if I need it. On the desk here, I also have a desk pad. It's just a random desk pad that I picked out of Amazon and it looks pretty good. It's 35 by 17 inches and just kind of fits perfectly in the space. The keyboard that I'm running is a custom keyboard. So the base is a Mongeek M1W V3, which is a 75% keyboard. It's an aluminum base, super heavy, and I have this dial to be able to control the volume. The switches I'm using are KTT Strawberry V2 switches. I just love the sound and feel of these switches. The keycaps are just some PBT keycaps with a gradient, with the text on the front side instead of on top. The mouse I'm using, and you probably see everyone else using, is the Logitech MX Master 3. It just feels super ergonomic and the battery life is really good. I really like using the side scroll wheel to be able to navigate through timelines when video editing. One thing I've been using a lot recently is the Blackmagic Mini color panel. I'm definitely going to be doing a full video about this, but essentially it's just a control surface that helps me with color grading. Normally I would just move my keyboard off to the side, just put the mini color panel in the middle, and that's how I would have my setup. Now on to the actual equipment that I use for filming my videos. So one of the most important parts is obviously the top down, which I've been doing a lot of for Reels and for YouTube as well. Basically I just have this small rig arm, and I really like this one because it clamps to the desk and I'm able to move it up or down. I just have a ball head on top and then an Arco Swiss plate attached to it so I can just quickly mount my camera onto it. A secret tool that I've been using is the triple axis bubble cube, and that goes onto the camera horseshoe just to make sure that it's level. For audio, I'm running the Sennheiser MKE600, which is actually what you're hearing right now. I actually think this is a really good value mic if you're looking for something that gives you really good audio and you don't want to shell out the $2,000 price point for an MKH416 or MKH50. This is a really good mic to get. The MKE600 is attached to a shock mount, and then it's just mounted with a magic arm and super clamp. The magic arm just lets me position the mic for if I want to do top-down shots or talking head for A-roll. This all feeds into the Zoom F3, which is what I'm using for an audio recorder, and it's just mounted to another magic arm. Now one important thing for my workflow is that the Zoom F3 is actually wired directly to my computer, and that does two things. First, when I turn on, because it is wired to my computer, the computer supplies all the power for it, so I don't ever have to worry about recharging batteries. And the second thing is that the micro SD card on the side, I have heard reports of people breaking open that door after a bunch of uses of opening and closing the door. It's also kind of hassle to have to take out that micro SD card, find an adapter for it, and then plug it into my computer. So because it is wired, I can just enable the file transfer mode, and then I can instantly access the files on my computer. Yes, it will be a little bit slower, but usually audio recording files aren't that big anyways, so it doesn't really take that much longer, and just having it tethered is really nice. For lighting is always changing depending on what I'm filming. Sometimes I'll change up the setup a little bit, but right now I'm using the Amaran 200X, and that's connected to a 33-inch softbox, so that's my key light that is on this side right here. And I can control my light with the Sidus Link app, so that just gives me remote control of the light. And then if you see my recent video, I've also been using the Falcam Move Like Go. So that's this remote connected to a unit that is connected to the light, and that just lets me control the light and make it move using just a remote. So I'm able to set up the light and control the light all from my desk right here. The second light here, which is kind of giving this ambient room tone, is the Zhiyun G300. Now I really like this light because the light fixture itself is super small and doesn't take up a lot of space, and the control box is separate and it's lower, and I actually like that because I do use that light as a general room light sometimes, so having it down here is just really easy to control. The G300 is connected to a lantern. I really like that because it kind of just throws light everywhere, which I really wanted for my top-down shots, just to make the light a little bit more soft. Both of these lights are sitting on iFootage A400s, so they're basically just monopods with a really heavy round base. Now the benefit of this is that normal light stands, you would have legs and you can accidentally kick them. And with the round base, it just keeps everything flat so you don't ever actually trip over anything, and they're still super strong and strong enough to carry these lights. And that's pretty much it for my desk setup. Again, if there's any products here that you want a dedicated video on, definitely let me know in the comments below. I also want to know what your thoughts are on this studio. If you want to give it a rating out of 10, definitely do that. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to see more photo video content, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.